Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Capricorn is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Capricorn, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we're starting off with the Queen of Swords. You're somebody with the ability to sort of detach from what's going on, like step away from the situation in order to look at it, right? You're capable of this so-called objective point of view, right? Getting a bird's eye view of what's going on in your life, right, requires that we step outside of ourselves a little bit. That we don't just allow ourselves to be immersed in the situation, in the feelings of the situation, and react to that sort of turmoil, right, to the turbulence of life, right? We have this ability to step back. It's kind of a metacognition, you know? We step back and we're able to look at things and think, okay, that's how I'm feeling, that's how I'm behaving, this is what, this is how I've been sort of dealing with things, but what should I do differently? What is that telling me? Is that how I really want to, and is that how I choose to respond, So there's an ability here to sort of rise above all of the tumultuousness. See, this figure is way up in the sky here, right? The water's down below, and we're looking down, and we're able to see past, present, and future, and kind of get a handle on things and see a little bit more of the bigger picture. Not the complete picture, but a bigger chunk of it than when we're down in the mud, kind of living in this horizontal way. When we rise up a little bit, we look down, we can see a little bit more of the potential, and we can get a little bit more of the so-called objective viewpoint of ourselves, not just of the situation, but what we're doing in that situation. Okay, so you have that ability to step back right now. Let's see what you're stepping back, what you're looking at, what you're dealing with. We've got the Three of Wands. Okay, we've got the Moon card underneath. Two of Swords. The Star. Very, very good. You're rising quite far into the sky here, where you're getting that sort of starry perspective. And we have, ooh, look at that. Two of Swords, Two of Wands. Very good. We have another lunar card now. We've got the High Priestess. We have the sort of new moon, and we have the full moon here. So to me, it feels like there is a psychic illumination taking place in your life right now. You have the Art or Temperance card, a Six of Wands, and a Six of Swords. Wands and swords is what it's all about today. The correspondence between the Two of Swords, Two of Wands, and we have the Six of Swords and the Six of Wands. It's kind of like saying it's one thing to sort of to know what to do. It's another thing to know how to do it, and to believe that you can do it, and to trust that it is something you should do, right? We have all those components here. You know what it is, you know how to do it, and you have the belief that you really should do it. What else is there, right? Beyond that, it's just a matter of the bravery, the courage, stepping into the pressure cooker, which is our Art or Temperance card here. This is a step into a challenging situation. This is kind of saying, like, I know that as soon as I do this, as soon as I put myself on this path, it's going to be difficult. It's going to take me out of my comfort zone. I know that, and I'm ready to do it. Yeah, you've got really good energy right now. This is beautiful, and this is a bonus reading. Maybe it kind of feels like we needed a little bit of a green light, or we needed some kind of reassurance that we're making the right decision. I think you've got that, especially with the Three of Wands here that says yes. Right? This is with everything you've got is saying just do it, right? It's saying yes. Your body, your soul, your spirit are saying, yeah, We're in this together. Let's do it. This is the card of virtue. Okay. So I feel like we are getting that higher perspective in order to think, okay, I know how to do it. I know what it is. And I know basically I've got a plan at least, right? But should I, right? Is this worth it? Is this, am I stepping into and kind of a dark, scary forest, right? Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with Tiny Bob Ross right on top. Happy little Bob. You might hear my Sphinx cat in the hallway outside the studio door. I leave the studio door cracked open a little bit so she can come in and out, but she likes to just sit right by the door and sort of have a conversation with me while I'm doing the reading sometimes. She can come in if she wants, but she likes to stay in the hallway. I think she likes to hear the echo out there. It's too quiet in the studio, I guess. Anyway, if you have a prediction for the mystery card, put it in the comments down below. Let's take a look around the room one more time. We've got major arcana. We've got fire, a lot of fire. We've got a lot of air, 1, 2, 3, right? It's a lot of fire and a lot of air. There's no earth, there's no water. Okay? The water concerns me a little bit because why isn't there? I think maybe because we're gearing up to do something difficult. We don't have the water because the water is kind of like putting us back to sleep. The water is like comfort. The water makes us not want to move. The water feels good. It's like when you're in a hot bath and you really don't want to get out unless the water gets cold, or if it gets too hot, then you say, I got to get out. At least for me. I like to get in the bath and alternate between really, really cold water than really, really, really hot water. But we don't have that now, I think, because we realize that this is going to be a challenge. Whatever's coming into your life in the next week or so, I think it's going to be hard work. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be something unfamiliar. We don't have any earth energies because from the point of view of this objective viewpoint, this Queen of Swords viewpoint that you're trying to stay, you're trying to look at things from afar and say, is this really what I should be doing? It doesn't matter really what that is. What matters is if you should be doing it or not, right? What matters is that you know what it is and you know how to do it. Okay? And then you have that confirmation that you really should be doing this. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters to you, of course. It doesn't matter from this perspective or from my perspective. And I say that very often with the earth cards. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. What matters is how and why. Okay? And so obviously that means that what you're doing does matter, because if you're doing something, you don't know why you're doing it and you don't know how to do it, then why do it, right? It's kind of, it doesn't make sense to you to do it. So from this point of view, you could be doing anything. But as long as you know what it is, you know how you're going to go about it, and you have this confirmation that's saying you really should be doing this, this is a very good choice, even though it feels like there is sort of fear of the unknown here. Okay? Well, I wouldn't expect otherwise. Of course, if there was no fear of the unknown with this moon card, if this moon card wasn't present or something similar to this somewhere in the reading, I would say things are just going on as normal for you. There's nothing really happening. It's more of the same for you. So I think you're trying to get this bird's eye view and look at yourself and look at the world and look at your place in the world and say, am I doing what I should be doing? And, is it necessary for me to step out of my comfort zone and start doing the difficult stuff? Right? We're going into the dark, scary forest where we know that there are going to be a lot of things we have to confront, a lot of things about ourselves, a lot of things about other people. We're going to have to really, really do it, So anyway, you've got a lot of major arcana in it. That was the point. You've got the star, you've got the new moon, the full moon with the high priestess, you got the pressure cooker, you got a lot of fire, and you got a lot of air. The fire in the air, right? The fire is kind of saying like, I'm inspired I'm inspired to do it. And maybe at first we felt this inspiration. We feel like, I know I got to do something, but maybe I don't quite know how to do it yet. Right? Well, that's okay, because we can see with the Six of Swords at the end, we're going to figure out how. Right? We're going to figure out how to do it. But the first thing is to decide to do it. Okay. The Three of Wands is really the challenge for you right now, is to just get the resolution to say, I should be doing it and I'm going to do it. That's it. I've decided. Maybe right now I don't really know how, but I can see that I need to make some changes in life. Now, tarot is always trying to get you in harmony with the process of change. You know, things aren't staying the same. Things never will stay the same. Okay. So if we had a lot of water energy, you know, if we didn't have some element of challenge or fear or something like this here, then there wouldn't be really anything going on. It would be more of the same. We wouldn't be consciously thinking about change. Change is always a step into the unknown. It's always a step toward uncertainty. So we have the card that says, okay, I know something needs to change. Either maybe you're starting a new path, maybe you're going to you're shifting careers, you're going to go after a big promotion, or you're going to start a physical fitness routine or something like this, or you're going to really start focusing on changing some things in your financial life. Maybe this is about a relationship. Well, it's a relationship for sure. But when I say that, I don't just mean it's between you and like another person. A relationship is the way we relate to the world around us, the way we relate to ourselves, right? And so we could be experiencing ourselves a little bit more objectively right now and thinking, what is my relationship with myself? What is my relationship with my career, job, vocation? What's my relationship with spirit? What's my relationship with my friends or my family or my spouse or significant other? What's my relationship with my pets, my plants, my people, and with the larger world? Yeah. And so we're recognizing that something needs to change. We're starting a new path, or we're going to work on kind of like stopping doing something else. Yeah. I feel like there's always an active and passive sort of trade-off. We want to do more of one thing, kind of means we got to do a little bit less of something else to somehow kind of, I don't know, restore the balance, I guess. But the Three of Wands is that conviction. It is your virtue that says, I know that this is the right thing for me to do. This is the way I want to be. This is the way I want to live. This is the relationship I want to have. This is the body I want to have, the mind I want to have. This is the relationship with myself and the world that I want to have. Okay? And so this is that conviction that says, I've taken a big look at things and I've decided that this is who I want to be and how I want to be and all the rest of it. And under the surface, of course, as soon as we have that resolution, we get the Moon card. And the Moon card is just fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's saying, I don't know what's going to be on the other side of this doorway. I like the comfort of where I am now because I can see it. Because there's lights here. I've been here already. It's familiar. It is the known, right? And the known is always more familiar than the unknown. I mean, just that's the definition, right? And so we're looking at this dark, scary doorway, and as soon as we have that resolution, as soon as we decide we're going to change something about life, we start to worry. Something shifts in us. It's like we've crossed a threshold, and now suddenly we're in the unknown, which is like, okay, I know that now life's going to get more challenging. Now there's going to be things I have to figure out, right? When we decide, you know what, I'm going to get healthy. I've decided right now. Then it's like, oh man, now I've got to do it. And now that means that when I'm done doing these readings, I have to go out and ride the recumbent bike for a half an hour. There's other things that I'd rather be doing, and that's sort of like we're anticipating already the challenges that are coming before us, and in some ways that's a good thing, because we're going to be able to prepare. And, well, some of us don't like that. Some of us just want to be oblivious, and then suddenly, oh, it's 12 o'clock, guess what? And you're getting on the recumbent bike. You got to ride the bicycle for half an hour. And it depends on your personal style, I guess, right? But there is that that sense of light. And this is down beneath the surface. This is something that's kind of inside of you, kind of you feel it in your gut, where it's just like, I know that to make this happen, to become the person I want to be or to live the life I want to be, I've got to go through this doorway. And this is a dark, scary doorway, right? I want to do one of our divine doorway cards. The Hummingbird Song, nectar of sweetness, in joy it brings, the hummingbird's healing, as medicine it sings. The nectar of sweetness, in joy it brings. Maybe this is, because we don't have any water energy, remember? So now we've got this nectar of sweetness, right? And the hummingbird's healing. So maybe this is a decision we're making, a conviction that we have to say, you know what, I'm going to live life with more abundance. I'm going to live life from a place of abundance. I'm going to attract all of those good and pleasant things into my life. I want the nectar of sweetness. I want the joy of life. I want to feel good, And maybe this is fitness, finance, maybe it's health and wealth, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's our friendships, maybe it's our creative work, our spiritual life. Why do we want to do those things? Well, because we feel like if I were to do those things and become that person and grow into that person, it's going to feel good, right? And very often it's the other way around. Very often it's like, I'm doing something that just feels good now, even though I know that it's not making me feel good later. It's like, I don't know, some types of food that I eat, sometimes it feels good now, but it's not going to feel good later. Sometimes I have too much Mexican food, I get a little bit of heartburn, But it's just like, I'm not so worried, that's later. That comes down the line, And so very often we're thinking very short term, and we think, it feels good it feels good right now to do these things. I don't care about 10 or 20 years down the road. But what we know what I've learned, at least through life and through doing these readings, is that everything we do right now is karma. Every thought, word, and deed in the present moment is creating who we're going to be in 5 or 10 years, 20 years, 5 or 10 minutes even from now. Okay? So I feel like you're kind of making that decision in your life that says, I'm going to start making the right decisions now because I want to become the person that is going to feel good, not only right now and tomorrow and 5 minutes from now or whatever, but 10, 20 years from now, I want to be that person too. Right? So I think we're starting to realize that, like having that bowl of ice cream every day, that doesn't feel good anymore. It may taste good for a brief time, but that's kind of like the body running the show. And we don't have any earth cards here. We don't have any water cards. The body and its feelings are not running the show here. You've made a top-level decision in the spiritual hierarchy. Fire is at the top. Fire is close to spirit. Fire is this inspiration to change, right? And of course, we have this air energy that's kind of like the mind and the intellect and the spiritual energy joining forces and saying, okay, I can see my life. I can see myself, my world. Oh, that's me down there. And I know what I want to change. I know what I need to change. I know who I want to be and what kind of life I want to live today and 20 years from now. Okay, so I think we're inspired right now to make a pretty significant change in our life, or to start making the change. It does not happen overnight, but we want the hummingbird's song. We want the healing, the medicine. We want the nectar of sweetness and the joy, the real joy of life, right? The Two of Swords in the background here, this is your recent past, and there was this dilemma. There was a need to make a decision in your recent past. So I'm not sure if something happened that got you thinking about something. I almost feel like you heard something, or you were having a conversation with somebody, or you were inspired by something, and we started to think, yeah, you know what? I need to make some changes in life. Maybe we started to have these questions. Who am I going to be in 10 years? How am I going to feel? How do I feel now? And then how am I going to feel 10 years from now? If I feel this way today, can you imagine in 20 years how I'm going to feel if nothing changes, right? Well, everything changes. We're either making conscious decisions to change and to sort of nudge the river, or change is going to happen to us and we're not going to even have any say at all in it, right? And it's, I mean, to relate it to myself personally, and I know not everybody likes it when I do that, you know, there was a time quite recently for me where I said, you know what, I don't feel all that, like, ecstatic in my life right now, so I need to change some things because it's not going to get better all by itself. I'm not going to have, if things stay the way they are, I'm not going to have more energy in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, you know? So I got to start nudging the river in the right way here. Yeah. And so this may be the idea of I've got to follow my intuition. I've got to follow my true destiny. I can't let the body or the emotions drive the boat any longer, right? So we're sort of deferring to spirit. There's that lunar crescent at the top of the card here. And I feel that you were inspired. I feel like something happened. I almost feel like it's something that came through the mind anyway. It was a beam of starlight that came down into your mind and said, it's time to make a change. Let's figure out what changes to make. It's almost like this was an awakening. It's almost like there was just a light bulb on top of your head that said, we're going to start living more consciously. Not that you were asleep before, but to live more consciously. And maybe this was a long time ago that this sort of moment happened. Maybe, like for me, this moment has to happen every once in a while, right? The more often, the better, sort of wakes us up because we have an awakening and a lot of forces in the world, a lot of forces in our body and in our emotional body try to get us back to sleep again. So every once in a while, we need this beam of starlight that just sort of like keeps us awake, keeps us charged up with that spiritual power. And it says, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, I got to stay with this. I got to continue to pay attention to my life. It doesn't mean you have to be on the same path for the rest of your life, but to always be reminded that, okay, I got to pay attention to who I am, what I'm doing, and how I'm relating to the world so I can feel good right now and also know that my good feeling right now is building up and I'm pushing the river in the right way and I'm going to feel good in 5 and 10 and 20 years too, right? If everything goes well. Of course, there's always that element that's outside of our control. And that's what we get with the Two of Wands, right? We can only do what we can do. Can't do what we can't do. We can make conscious decisions and we can put our inspiration into action, but there will be things that are happening. This is the card in the immediate future. It's the Two of Wands. It's kind of like saying your will is being blocked by something. We have this inspiration to change, and we're getting a good idea of what we want to change, and then we're sort of figuring out how to change it. But we know that there's going to be other things that get in the way sometimes. That's life. Life's going to get in the way. Once we're making plans, right? Life's going to get in the way of that. So you may say, okay, I'm going to ride the recumbent bike every day at 12 o'clock. I'm going to ride the bike for a half an hour, and that's a good start. That's just something that I can start doing right away, right? Well, what about tomorrow when it's 12 o'clock and your boss calls and needs you to do something, or your kids need something, or there's some emergency at the house or something, and like you can't do it. You can't ride the bike at 12 o'clock tomorrow because something in life happened. It's a test. Are we going to say, well, I guess there's just too many things that are going wrong, that are against me. I'm just going to give up riding the bike. Screw it. I'm just going to go back to sleep. I'm just going to go back to doing what I was doing. I'm going to forget about it. It seems like every time I try to do something, somebody needs something, something else happens, the car gets a flat tire, and I can't do it. Well, it's a test. How easily you quit, whether you're owning this life or not. And if you are, I feel that you are, Capricorn, if you are owning this life, then whatever happens tomorrow, you're going to say, I'm going to deal with it. If I can't ride the bike at 12 because I have to fix the flat tire, fine. I'm going to fix the flat tire. I'm going to ride the bike later or tonight, or I'm going to do double tomorrow. Like I'm going to figure out how to do it. You know, I'm not going to let any of these little incidences of life put me back to sleep, right? Because there will be challenges going forward for you. This star card up top here, of course, is that divine inspiration. This is the starlight coming into your life. The star is always trying to remind you that you're a magician. Well, that's what the tarot is all about. Okay? The tarot is all about how we harmonize with the process of change. how we can be a magician who is the one that can cause change in accordance with will. We have to know what we will, and we have to then we have to formulate the plan, the magical formula to get that will done, right? And then we have to act on that. So there's a process to magic here. And part of this process is for this light to come in, the starlight to come in, and show us what's preventing us from doing this. Well, that's part of our objectivity of the Queen of Swords, too. Shows us where our buttons are, shows us where our knots of karma are, shows us those things that we need to look at in order to let the light shine forth from us out into the world, and we're manifesting the kind of change that we want, whatever it might be for you. Maybe you're trying to write a book or do a stamp collection, or you're trying to stay on budget with your finances, or you're trying to work your way up to a better career position, or whatever it is, whatever you're working on. Maybe you're trying to strengthen your relationship with your kids or your parents or your lover, whatever it might be. Okay, the star shows us internally what is preventing that. Well, maybe what's preventing that is the fear of the unknown. Maybe nothing. Maybe you're getting this bird's eye view and you're thinking, yeah, I can see what I'm doing. I can see how I'm living my life. And very often the Queen of Swords is a card that says you need to journal. Journal, journal, journal. You know what you can even do is you can write about your life in the third person. Today, Paul woke up at 6:30, but he really didn't want to get out of bed, and he was kind of grumpy when he woke up. But as soon as he had his coffee, he was all right. He went to work and blah, blah, blah. If we write about ourselves in the third person, it is that metacognition, allows us to start to see ourselves a little bit objectively. Now, we're not trying to dissociate from ourselves or anything like that, but we are trying to be objective and honest about what we're doing. Not just like, I feel tired, I feel like I didn't get enough sleep last night. Well, yeah, of course, but you know what? Paul woke up at 6:30, he was a little grumpy. Well, he stayed up too late reading last night, and he had a rather rough day yesterday, and he slept in a little bit, and he's kind of grumpy, but he got up and he did it. And it allows us to, as objectively as we can. I mean, it really is impossible to be objective towards ourself, right? Because we're the subject and the object at the same time, you know. But we're going to try that, and maybe we should try journaling in the third person just for a day, see how it works out for us, yeah. But once we allow the starlight in and it starts showing us what our blockages are, what is getting in the way of us going forward, do we have some negative self-talk? Do we have some doubt? Do we have some fear? Do we have an attachment to comfort? Is our body or our emotions running the show here, driving the boat? Once we start looking at those things and asking those questions, the light starts to spill out from us, shows us our illuminated path, our yellow brick road going forward. Okay. And we can see the yellow brick road going forward is beset with challenges and struggles. Of course, it's not going to be a super highway to your true self or to your destiny or to your future. There's going to be stops, bumps in the road, detours. Okay? And that's part of what we're going to experience with the Temperance card. Now, Path of the Serpent, if you haven't subscribed, please do. The readings are totally free. Your High Priestess card is that guiding light in your life. The light comes down from the star. This is your true self. This is the divine realm. This is God, goddess, deity, whatever you want to call it. The Moon card, or the High Priestess, which is the full moon to me, this is the ray of light coming off of the star, being reflected into our consciousness. This is the message itself. This is the source, right? And I do call this the full moon card. It's the High Priestess. It's the one that's illuminating our psyche so that we can see and understand. It is the dawning of this intuitive knowing, the dawning of gnosis, self-gnosis, right? The dawning of our perception of the path that's before us. This is us perceiving the light. Okay, and so I feel that you're somebody who is always on the spiritual path, whether you know it or not. I think that you have a lot of connection with spirit guides or ancestor energy. I feel that you kind of have a whole spirit team around you right now. Okay, and I think if you feel that there is like a wind at your back, you feel as if something is pushing you forward here. And there's conviction. They're saying, I know that I'm supposed to do this. This is the right path for me. And we feel this inspiration. Yeah. We have all this mental energy, right? Because it is fire and air. But all of this is inspired by the spiritual energy. First of all, the new moon card here, which is that fear, right? Because this is the fear of the unknown. We don't know what's on the other side of the doorway. We're not going to know till we get there. We're not going to know till we go. Once we step forward onto this path, then our eyes will adjust. We'll start to see the light. Things will become familiar. Okay? And that's what this card is, a slow revelation of the truth, a slow revelation. This is your spiritual eyes, your psychic eyes, your third eye adjusting to the next step on the path. But we have to take that step first, and then our third eye sort of adjusts, the rods and cones, adjusts to the darkness, and it feels like we can see, we can make out shapes and distinguish people and places and all that stuff. And then we take another step into the darkness, and we wait for the light to emerge. And we have to trust in this. This is something that is pulling you toward, or pushing you, however it feels for you, leading you to your best life. See, this is the High Priestess is always showing you the way to the Empress, right? Card number 2, Empress, is card number 3, right behind the High Priestess. So this is that part of you, that's that spiritual message, the light from guardian angel or God, goddess, deity, whatever you want to call it, whatever you feel to be present in your life, leading you to the best version of yourself and the best life for you. See, it's a combination of who you are and your relationship with the larger universe. Okay, so we have to trust in this, and I think when we do that, we're sort of trusting that, okay, this divine energy in me is leading me right into the pressure cooker. Well, that doesn't seem very nice, right? And so there is automatically a resistance, like the body doesn't want to go. The feelings are saying, I don't like that. It doesn't feel good. This feels like a challenge. This feels like I'm on the blacksmith's anvil and I'm getting banged around with a hammer. Well, yeah, life's going to hammer us. Whenever we're trying to change, what does change mean, right? It means things are not the same as what they were before. Things are rearranged. It's the way, and to me this card is literally us on the anvil, getting banged around with the hammer, and we're being shaped and molded into who we are willing ourselves to become. This is an intentional thing. We're going in here and we're saying, okay, this situation is going to change me, and this is the change I want. So it's me saying, okay, I'm going to get on the recumbent bike and I'm going to ride for 30 minutes. And my body's going to protest. My feelings are going to say, oh, I don't like this. I don't like these movements. I'm getting all sweaty and hot. I'm out of breath, It's only 30 minutes, Paul. Come on. And it's just like your divine energy has led you here. And, of course, you're not going to feel all that great about it until we do. Until we realize that, okay, this is challenging, but there's something that feels good about this. Because we know that I'm becoming the person I want to become so I can enjoy my life now as well as 10 years from now. Whether you're talking physical fitness or financial fitness or relationships with, family, friends, even your career type of thing or your creativity, whatever it might be, your spiritual practice, your spiritual relationships, whatever it is. At first, it's not going to feel comfortable, okay? But once we realize that we're feeling stronger, spiritually stronger, we're being fortified. Every time the blacksmith's hammer comes down on us, we're a little bit stronger than we were before. And so it may be, the impact may be uncomfortable, but the result of that impact is more strength and resilience, and this, I think, is pumping us up into a 6 of Wands here, which is a Jupiter in Leo energy, which is this expansion of our pride and expansion of our capabilities. Every time we do the challenging thing, and again, it's not just one thing. I can't just ride the bicycle once and, all right, I did it. All right, 20-year plan is perfect now. No, we got to do it again and again and again and again and again. The more we do it, the more we'll feel that we're capable of doing it. And the better it will feel doing it. It'll start to feel good, right? Because we're conquering ourselves. We're doing it. I've made a decision and I'm following through, and it feels nice, you know. And that's the ongoing sense of victory. Every time I go and I ride the bicycle, feels like a win. And the more wins you get, the more you're going to want to go out and get another one, you know. And the Six of Swords at the end kind of feels like this is the divine plan. This is, we're inspired to do something and we know how we're going to go about doing it. There will be variables, of course. Every step is a step into the dark, scary forest of the Moon card. But we're trusting in that process. It feels divinely inspired. We know what we want to do and we know how to do it. And now we're doing it. And I think that we're trying as best we can to stick to the plan. This is the divine plan. This is where every thought, word, and deed is pointed right at the heart of the matter. So we know who I want to be, where I want to be, and what I want to be doing today and 20 years from now. Like, I know how I want things to progress, more or less. Now, there's always going to be a need for flexibility. That's why this card is ruled by Mercury, because we need to be flexible. I mean, this is the card of magic. This is Mercury in Aquarius, right? So this is you with being the magician, saying, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. But we're flexible, we're adaptive, we're elastic, we're not rigid, right? To where if something goes wrong, we're going to break down. Something goes wrong, and the magician can be flexible, can figure it out. I can rearrange some things, or I can say, I'm going to ride the bike now, I'll fix the tire in 30 minutes. No big deal. We're going to figure it out. The plan has to be infinitely elastic, okay? But everything is still pointed at the same center, at the same heart, right? As far as we might have to stretch ourselves or figure out a detour, whatever we got to do. Let's look at the mystery card. I want water, right? I think a 10 of cups or something would be just absolutely perfect right now. I want the nectar of sweetness. We want the joy. We want the healing. So I'm thinking water energy, universe, Wheel of Fortune, Empress. Something like that. A lot of possibilities, right? Let's see what we have. Nope, it's a Knight of Swords. This is our ability to be discerning. And I think we have the Queen of Swords, Knight of Swords. I think it's a pretty strong confirmation, right? This is saying I've seen myself objectively. I've journaled about myself in the third person, so I have a pretty good picture of what's going on here. And now I can make the executive decisions. Now I can make those high-level wisdom, discernment decisions to say, this is what we're doing. And the Knight of Swords is someone who can make a decision swiftly, is able to take all of the understanding from the Queen of Swords. It's one thing to kind of see the picture and get a pretty solid understanding of what's going on, right? Well, I've seen it, yeah, and I get it. I understand me and my life and what I'm doing and where I'm going, you know. That's good. That's one thing. But the next step that has to happen is we have to start making decisions that are in line with that understanding. It's one thing to know how to do something, right? It's another thing to do it. Yeah. And so this is us being able to make those decisions using that higher wisdom and discernment in every moment. It's like bicycle or ice cream, or flat tire versus, you know, finding a way to get to work. Well, if your car breaks down, I need to get to work and make the money. That's what my will is, right? That's part of my plan, is to go to the job and make the money. I got a flat tire. Whatever. I'll fix that after work. I gotta get to the job. I've been in that situation before. I used to drive an old Dodge truck, and one day on the way to work, it broke down. It was the fuel pump, I guess the fuel pump went out on it. And so I couldn't do anything. It was on the side of the road, put the hazards on, and I jogged to work. It was a couple miles. I jogged there. And I got there a little bit late, but it was there. Rather than having to call in and say, hey, I can't get there because my car broke down, I just said, on my break, I'm going to call a tow truck, tell them where it is, tell them to pick it up, whatever, don't even care. It was a bad car. It was a manual, though. It was fun. A little Dodge Dakota. And anyway, we figure out if we really care about it and we really understand the necessity and how this is part of the plan, I'm going to figure out a way to make it work. I'm not going to say, oh, I got a flat tire. I guess I can't do it today. Okay? And I've been in that situation too. You know, where I don't show up for work and it's, well, my car broke down, and my boss would say, you couldn't find any way to get to work. Your friend couldn't drive you, you couldn't take the bus, you couldn't call and ask for a ride. Like you just said, oh, got a flat tire, guess I'm taking the day off. You gonna stay in bed today? And I said, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I'm staying in bed today. But that's what we mean with the Knight of Swords, our ability to kind of weigh the options and understand objectively, am I making excuses? Am I taking any of the inconvenient circumstances of life and using it as a reason to not do the thing I know I need to do? Or can I make the decision to say, okay, this is my priority for the day or for this moment, and I'm going to do the difficult thing. Your mind's going to tell you, oh, just go back to bed. Your heart, your body, right? You're going to tell you, oh, just go back to bed then. You know, you got the flat tire. It's a really good excuse to take the day off from work. And I used to love that. I used to love it. Sometimes I would be so happy to get a flat tire because it meant I didn't have to go to work that day. But it feels silly to me now, you know. I think this is a really terrific confirmation card. We're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do some oracle cards and an I Ching reading. There's a link up top and there's a link down below. New readings for Capricorn, usually on Thursdays and Sundays. This is a bonus reading. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you needed some confirmation that this is the right path for you. Indeed, it is. It feels like it really is. But be sure to watch both of your other readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.